Hey, this is Molly Rose of mollyrosespeed.com and the founder of the Virtual Assistant Academy. And today I'm sharing with you how to use Asana with a virtual assistant or with any team in general. Asana is an incredible project management tool that I personally live by in my business to stay organized and on top of things. And my team and I communicate so well and have so much productivity using this. So the three things that I'm going to cover today are the rules of engagement for Asana. So these are the must-haves, must-do. Everybody has to do this within Asana to stay on the same page and keep the business rolling. The second thing is communication. How do you use Asana solely to communicate with your team, saving your inbox mountains of emails? And the third thing is how to run a call agenda with your team using Asana, keeping everything in one place so everyone knows what to expect, what to do going forward, and all the tasks and due dates are there waiting for you. So let's dive in. So the first section of how to use Asana with a VA is rules of engagement. And there are three things that I want to introduce to you. The first rule that I have when working on any team is to always have an owner. The second is always have a due date. And the third is managing your inbox and your tasks and how to use it on a routine basis. This is what we're always checking. So we have to kind of stay consistent with the way we're using it. So always have an owner. What do I mean by that? I'm clicking into a project to show you here. So as you see, you have a task. On the right-hand side, you have the assignee and a due date. Now you can see some of these don't, or there's a very outdated due date there. What this leaves is an opportunity for that task to fall through the cracks. So if there's no owner, there's no one following up on it, there's no one getting alerted to it. And the same thing with the due date. We have to have due dates that can remind us that we're checking in on something or this is a priority. So how do we do that? Let's go to this one right here. There's no owner. You can click on it, go to assignee, and click here to assign it. You can also use the shortcut Tab A, and it opens it. Same thing here, click, and we can go to a date range that's more important. And then there it is. Or you can hit Tab D to open that. So now this will show up in my tasks and on my calendar, and I will know that I have to work on this at some point on Wednesday. The other rule I have around dates and assignees, mostly dates, is let's say I didn't get to it on Wednesday. That's okay, and what I ask my team to do is post their update down here. Why didn't it happen? Maybe when I was working on this project, the person that was supposed to get me the sales copy didn't get it to me in time, so I had to postpone it. It's good to know. You can kind of keep tabs on things and your team can see what's going on. Maybe someone needs a little help, maybe someone's overwhelmed. So that's kind of where we keep the progress of that, and it's okay to change dates. We can't kill ourselves trying to get things done. The other thing for rules of engagement is when you log in, how do you manage using Asana? So what I always tell people to do is first click on the inbox right here, which if you have a message, it's going to be lit up for you. So it's going to alert you, and clear out any conversations that you might have, or this might signify anything overdue or due dates, and just kind of get up to speed with communication. And the reason we do this first is there might be another team member waiting to hear from you, and they can't progress down the path of something without hearing back the feedback or the question that they had for you. The next thing is go to My Tasks, and you can view this as a list like this, or my favorite is viewing it as a calendar. And I have everything color coded, so then on November 2nd I can see exactly what I'm supposed to do. So today I'm creating this video because that's what it says that I'm supposed to do. And this is just a great place to kind of assess your day, and you can move things around if you know you're not going to get to it, and it'll auto change things for you. Great visual, very productive way to work. The next way that I use Asana with my team or with a virtual assistant is for communication. So I solely communicate with my team using two tools. The first one is Asana. The second one is Voxer, which is a walkie-talkie app. which we'll do a separate video on. And the reason for this is it saves that beloved inbox that we always stress out about having so many emails coming at us. And when we communicate in our inboxes as a team, it gets buried with other things and other priorities that aren't as important as your work. So by focusing on this system, this is the priority over everything else because it's your business. Your communication is solely here, not emails from other people. So how does that work? The first one, which we kind of mentioned, constantly checking your inbox. That's where your messages are going to show up. And then within the projects and then the tasks, you can come down to the chat section and put notes in here. You can hit the @ sign to come up with your team that you're tagging to get alerted about a message that you're asking them. This will also get sent to any of the collaborators that are a part of this project, so they'll automatically see it as well. But using the @ sign will address the person that needs to answer it. And that's a great place to do that. Alternatively, if you don't want to do it within a task, you can go to More, Conversations, and here you can start a new conversation. So I frequently use this for stuff that's not tied to a task. So maybe it's just alerting someone, hey, followed up with Joe about coffee on Friday, we're good to go at 10. Instead of creating a task about the coffee with Joe that doesn't necessarily need to be there. So that's kind of where I would use that. So 2 ways to communicate. And again, rule of thumb, every time you log into Asana, you check that inbox, you clear it out because people are waiting on you, and it just keeps everybody happy in the team moving along. And again, eliminates your inbox and keeps everything here focused on business. The last thing is how to run a call agenda with your team. So we have a very strict call agenda that we use when we are working together for teams. And it looks like this. So every Monday morning, our team meets and we go through the same agenda. And I find this super helpful to have in Asana because it allows us to track questions that we need to ask, but they don't necessarily need to be answered right away. It's something we need to discuss on our Monday call or whatever weekly call you have with your team. So the first thing we start out with is good news. So we want to highlight the good energy between the team. Might be, something that got sold, might be some PR, might be that it's your kid's second birthday, whatever you're celebrating, go around the horn and talk about it. Then you get into business and you talk about the dashboard if you have one. So what are your stats? Maybe it's followers, maybe it's sales, maybe it's leads, whatever your business requires. You can also do KPIs if you want to do key performance indicators and call them that. I listed both. Some people like different names. Things like invoice status, like stuff that you're checking every week that you need to discuss with your team that's kind of number related, metric related. The next thing I always have up front is the Q4 goals, just to stay on point. We're all on the same page. And then we get into the meat of it. So the identify, discuss, solve section is really the meat of the phone call, and these phone calls should not be more than 30 minutes. And this is where the team members come ahead of time and write down anything that you need to discuss, and you put your assigned name to it. So let's just say it's marketing program. Now I want to discuss this with the team, and I'm going to assign it to myself because I'm going to be the one discussing it. It's my topic. It's the question I have. Maybe it's a payment question, whatever it is, right? These are non-specific. And then someone else will go in and put their things. Same thing for good news. This should have an owner next to it, and so forth. So we know who's what, and we kind of go. It creates the agenda for us. Now, from the identify, discuss, solve, it's going to create who, what, and whens. So these are tasks that come out of the things that you discussed on the call that need to be followed up. Sometimes the identify, discuss, solve just gets checked off, and that's no problem. Sometimes they create tasks, right? So this might be answered. Oh, now it becomes a thing that I actually need to get done this week, and it's not going to be due until Friday, and that's where it's going to go. and that you'll have a whole list of these. From there, and this is an advanced thing that I've added, but it's the weekly priorities. So what are the 2 to 3 things you are committing to this week to getting done, and everyone on the team should have them. And then there's the menial tasks, the who, what, whens. But what are the big priorities that you need to get done as part of the team? Those would go under weekly priorities. We do this every single Monday. Once the call is finished, I assort my tasks into the appropriate projects that they are now to. So marketing calendar, my marketing program, this would get dragged into there and create a task for me. So this will just be cleared out after the phone call and ready to go for the next one, getting filled in every week by the team. All right, so we've covered 3 major things: the rules of engagement using Asana, how to communicate, and lastly, how to have a call agenda, all within Asana. So I hope this helps you and your team. If you liked this video and you want to learn more about the tech hacks and project management tools that we are living by online, you can subscribe below. I'd really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please leave a note in the comments, and I would love to answer your question via a YouTube video in the future. You can follow me at mollyrosespeed.com and learn more about the Virtual Assistant Academy or Virtual Assistant Management, where we place virtual assistants in the links below. Thanks so much, and go forth and be productive.